Hey, 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 welcome to the Really Charlie podcast. Today is one of the best to come out of New Bedford High School. She played three sports: basketball, track, and volleyball. Definitely comes from a family, actually on both sides of her family, a very athletic family. I was very proud to see her play. Also, um, loved playing basketball with her dad, even though he's older than me. But when he was out there as long as he could, and definitely a good guy to play with. Good friend of mine now, and but without further ado, my guest on the Really Charlie podcast, Janelle Ferguson Watson. How you doing?
Hello. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Um, I
Oh,
I
sorry.
I
My
that's all right. It's part of the family, right? Part of the
yeah.
family. It wants to be heard too. The one of my past guests was Lindsay Grace, and Lindsay threw your name out when I asked her. I said, "Hey, what guest would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?" And Lindsay Grace said your name without hesitation, and so I had to reach out to you and get you on this podcast,
Okay.
and and so I was you know you definitely excelled. I tried to reach out to Coach Gardner. I was going to have him surprise you on this podcast
My
with me.
goodness.
Yeah, and let him throw out some of his stories. And it's amazing that the stories I heard this past 2 years. Um, you have your son plays at Texas,
He's
and
at
from what
Georgia
I
Tech.
all right, I was actually getting. I seen something about him in the transfer portal, but I couldn't tell where it was from. I mean, if it was this year or last year, but you know, and but we'll get back to that.
Okay.
All right. So here you are, a young girl, got a bunch of athletes around you and your family, different people playing different sports, and who inspired you to start, shooting the ball around, maybe just doing athletics, period? Who was your main
Um,
inspiration?
so the first person that ever approached me about doing anything involved with sports was Bernie, Sylvia, now Souza,
Yep.
or Bernadette. But yeah, I don't know how she got with one of my parents, but she was putting together a team at OLOA. And it was a bunch of us girls from the front. Um, Bay Village was Nadine Lindsay,
Hmm.
Shailene Gonzalez, and I think those were the only two girls on the team that knew anything about basketball at that time. I was just talking to my mother on the way home from work, and I was like, "Yeah, the first practice, I think it was at the boys' club outside, and I went with like stretch pants and boat sneakers on. I had no clue what I was doing." I think I was always competitive, but never played any organized sports. So
Okay.
that was my first time ever doing anything with any team athletically.
Wow. It's it's nice to hear that. Who inspired you? Because Bernie was she was definitely my age, we're the same age. She always coming to the basketball court, always
Yeah,
wanting to play some ball. She didn't care who was on the court.
right,
You know,
right. She
she
was so
was
patient,
yeah,
so
and she
patient, and knew how to coach and teach like fundamentals really well. I
yes.
remember that. I remember how crazy our first game was. I remember my cousin dribbling all the way down the court and making a layup in the wrong basket. My cousin Tyranny Baptiste.
Uh huh. Yes.
So yeah, we looked like the bad news bears out there that first year, but I think we got it together the second year around.
Yeah. History shows that you guys turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, I know you was always at the boys club quite a bit, and they still have, I believe, you still have your name on the wall, with Boston College on it, and
Yeah.
so w- did you always anticipate or think that you were going to go to college, whether academically or play, basketball?
My honestly, so I had cousins that went to Boston College, and my aunt Sherry, my mother's sister, Sherry Texera Jones.
Yeah.
So I always idolized her, followed her around. She would take me to Boston, so I thought it was like so cool that she lived there and experienced this beautiful college. And then my cousin Keith Francis, he was always one to talk up, education and that there's so much more to life than just, what on a day-to-day basis. So I remember when I was like maybe 10 or 11, in the summertime, he actually came up and I think he was just visiting his mother. And then he took me back to DC with him for a week. And I got to experience just, his lifestyle and how he was living. And so that was a great experience. But when I think back, like on my childhood, I definitely had family members throughout that, you see and you notice that, people don't just do the same thing day in and day out. There's always a different way.
Yes.
So definitely my aunt Sherry and my cousin Keith, my cousin Donnell Gomes, they're all BC grads. So
Yes.
I knew I wanted to go to college, and when it came time for it, I had opportunities, but I was like, BC is it. I don't care what I have to do. That's where I wanted to go.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you went there. And with your family tree, it looks like BC kind of helped out with your family tree. They do some, you, your cousin, you're all matchmaking up there at BC.
Yeah.
It's all good because you got beautiful families. And
Thank you.
Yeah. So you're up at BC after doing all your things at New Bedford High School, and you meet your other half.
Yep.
So how'd that happen? At the football game? Or was
No. So I went into a program the summer before my freshman year that actually my cousin Keith was really involved with, the Ohana program. And it was a summer program called OTE. And we started, I think, in June. So we went up there in June. We started like taking some classes, and my husband now was playing football. He was a fifth-year senior at that time. So he was on campus, because they work out in the summertime for the season. That's how I met him, the summer before my freshman year.
Awesome. See that? Now you guys, you, from what I read, you actually, you guys, left BC, live in New Bedford a little while.
Yep.
And so you guys produce a nice, beautiful family.
Yeah.
So how is it that two athletes like you, or how does your son feel with two athletes like you, or one of your sons? How does he feel with you two in the house? Does he?
I mean, he definitely probably, he was very structured growing up. He wasn't like the normal kid, you know what I mean? All his free time was dedicated to training and workouts and getting better and perfecting his craft.
Yeah.
But when it came time, like senior year, he was on, kind of getting up and doing things himself, and you didn't have to wake him up to do things because he was so, that was just his life.
Wow.
So I think he's kind of on like, just cruise control right now. It's all been instilled in him from a very young age. So, so much so that now, like with my 11-year-old, my husband started later with him. He was like, I'm not starting that early. He's not ready yet. And I'm going to let him do his thing for a little while. And then, he started coming to him like, Dad, when are we going to start working out and doing that? So he actually just started like really working out like my son used to now at 11, where my son was like 7 working out every 7 days a week.
That's awesome. It's he's got that football name, it just fits.
Yeah.
Kenyatta Watson.
Yeah, he loves it.
Touchdown. I love it, So, what's his favorite side of the ball? You know, I know some people get pegged into different sides of the ball. Sometimes it's not their choice, but what's his favorite side of the ball?
My son,
Yeah,
defensive end, so corner. He'll play safety. I think he's probably going to be big enough to play safety,
yeah,
but corner.
good, good.
Yeah, special teams. He likes doing that. He's
So how,
fast, though.
how do you like those? See with his father and son matchups? You know,
I know it. Yeah, he's
that must be
definitely
nice.
a lot bigger than my husband was. When I look back at pictures, because when I met my husband, I knew nothing about football. So I would watch him play, but I knew nothing, like what was going on. So I didn't realize how good he was. And then one of his old teammates just recently started posting film of all of them from the BC team on Facebook. And now I
Wow.
go back and watch it. And I'm like, oh, okay, you were good.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. So you know what? Your grandfather and I worked together. I definitely can praise him for a lot of things that he helped me out, especially in the beginning. You know, and because sometimes you kind of come on a job and you just think that you know, you got all the answers. You know,
Right.
and but the one thing about him is that when he talked, and you guys should know it being in his family, you listen. You know, you just
Yep.
listen to him. He's very sincere. You know, he'll joke around, you know, when he wants to, but you know,
Yeah.
when he comes to you, and Big Ferg comes to you and talks to you, you listen. And
Right.
I'm so glad that I got so much of my career with him being, you know, we wasn't on the same relief, but if I
Yeah.
needed him, I could call him.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
um,
That's him.
now speaking of family, Lamont Ferguson,
I see him. My
it's a
brother.
future. Yep. See, you had to go to BC with this guy around. You know, you had to. That's the only way you're gonna probably matchmake with anybody because of this dude. I love him. I'm so proud of him. You know,
Nah, me too.
yeah, so proud of him. I keep asking him for a discount on a car. You know, yeah, but
Me too. I told him I'll drive up there to get a new one. I'll drive it
yeah.
back.
I bought one. I bought one. Very. I would have still had it, but it got in an somebody got in an accident with it. So,
Yeah.
but that was one of my favorite cars of all time. Um, so you're around the track. Coach Gardner's out there yelling at you. Well,
Hmm.
he you know, he yelled sometimes, but
Yeah.
he does have a mean streak sometimes. But all right, so one of your teammates was my all-time favorite redhead, Katie Toomey.
Katie Toomey. That's my girl.
That's it. She was that. That girl is. She's amazing with the kids. You know, teaching, and
Yeah.
she just had that knack. She just really had that personality. She can get through to a lot of them. So without asking you who your favorite teammate was, I know she was probably one of them.
Hmm.
And you know, you guys. I believe it was a state record you got one year, right? Maybe your junior year. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Muscle
Uh,
memory.
was it my junior year? It was my
Uh,
junior year and senior year, I believe. No, my junior year, because that's when they were seniors.
yeah,
Yeah. And then we won the volleyball championship my junior year.
that's it. Coach Macedo was happy. You guys gave him a lot of those wins in that 600 wins that he does have. Yeah,
It was one and done for me. They asked me to play. I
yeah,
played. We got the championship, and that was enough for me.
yeah, that's it. Get your ring and go home, right?
Yeah.
Coach Macedo was a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's uh, I mean he just had it with everything that he did. You know, even in the classroom, he's just a good dude, and
Oh yeah.
I'm glad I got to meet him.
Yeah. I think we were lucky to have, some of probably the best coaches that were at New Bedford High School during the time that we were there.
Yeah, that actually was a great. I want to say 5, 6 years, good
Right.
decade or
Yeah.
so at New Bedford High School. And
Right.
you guys experienced wins all over the place.
all
I
over.
mean,
Yeah,
it just,
yeah,
and that was it was good for me, especially where I was going to different games. It didn't matter what sport it was. I was just going, just to check out everybody. And then it seemed like every article in the newspaper, that following day was nothing but New Bedford High School.
right,
And and then you think it was just going to last for that season, and then it went to the next season, then it
right.
went to the next year, and
Yeah,
then it went to the following year, and it just kept going on and on and on. It was like, what's in that water over there? What's in the
yeah,
water? Guys were. It was a great generation, one after another.
yeah. It was. It was fun. Definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's see. I got a comment here. Hello, Patricia Baptiste and Mary Baptiste are watching you, and we love you.
I love you guys too.
Awesome. Great family.
Yeah, I'm lucky
And
to
that,
have such a big, great family on both sides. So
and I, and that's what I mean. I was thinking about it on both sides. I'm like, man, Janelle couldn't get away from sports. She has it on both
right.
sides,
Yeah,
and actually, good. You can everything, every sport, every sport,
yep.
and that's you know. But my all-time, well, I ain't even saying it. If I say who's my favorite in your family, I'm gonna get in trouble. So I'm not gonna say nothing at all, right? I won't say nothing at all. But so your son, and I want to get back to him only because that's a good story. They had an article about your son and Dave Lado's son, and a
Yeah.
great article,
Hmm.
awesome article, and it was nice to see. And
Yeah.
the now when you guys didn't know at all prior to them both getting on the team, how did you guys find out that
Well, Reese is older than Kenyatta. So Reese actually got his degree this year.
Okay.
So we knew he was, well, okay, so we knew, I think when he was committing, I think it was between like Nebraska and Texas, and then he ended up at Texas. And I kind of forgot about it because Texas kind of came in at the end of the cycle for my son's recruiting.
Hmm.
We definitely didn't think Texas was anywhere on the board. He's the one that brought up, going to Texas and visiting Texas. That was nowhere on our board. So then, after we visited, I think it was like in the locker room where I seen his picture and I was like, oh my God, I forgot Reese was here. So
Hmm.
that was really cool.
Yeah, it's Reese's dad was a good mentor for me. He's a good athlete. I hope he gets back into coaching
Yeah.
somewhere, because the dude knows his stuff. And
Yeah.
I was actually hoping and praying. I was hoping and praying. I said, well, Dave's not at DePaul no more. His opening at BC, oh, that would be a perfect fit.
That would
Let
have
it
been
happen,
cool.
let it happen, let it. And BC just hired so quickly. I mean, I says, man, you could have just waited just a little bit
I
longer,
know.
They just rushed that, and I don't think they
Yeah.
needed to.
I think they do a lot of rushing with their athletics at BC
Yeah,
now.
it's like it's probably so many people in line or so much pressure, but
Yeah.
man, if they just waited, and especially it wasn't, yeah, they still had a great opportunity to kind of
Hmm.
grab this dude, and especially he's done good, more good than bad,
Right.
and I wish he was at BC.
Yeah.
So what's being an all-American athlete in my eyes, in many people's eyes, and now you're all-American mom, you're producing all-Americans, and now you got to go to another state, right? No,
Who? Us?
you. No, you're in Georgia, right?
No, we're in Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in Georgia. So
Yep.
your son comes home.
My son
Now
comes
he's
home.
he's closer. He gets to
Yeah.
have
My
you
daughter's
cooking.
about to leave.
All right.
Yeah, she plays flag football. She's going to be going to St. Thomas University in Miami.
Awesome. Awesome. See, and these are the stories I want on the Really Charlie podcast. Just inspirational stories coming
Yeah.
from, you know, coming from you, and coming from many other people from the city. And I'm reaching out all over the place. I mean, I've talked to people all over the country trying to get them on the podcast, but I try
Yeah.
to mainly focus on these educational, inspirational stories. And you are definitely one of them. And I'm glad Lindsay mentioned your name. Eventually, I would have got to you because there's no overlooking what you accomplished, and I'm glad that we all got to see you, and your big bro over here is saying great interview, and Lamont, it's your family. Your
He's
family's in it.
definitely a better public speaker than I am.
Yeah, I got to get him on it too, because he's doing some.
He has an incredible story.
He does.
Yep.
He does. And but I'll work on that.
Yeah.
Mace, but I'll talk to him about it. Yeah. So, and let me see here. Just trying to read these comments, make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right. So, somebody's saying hi. Let's see what this is. I don't know who it is.
Yeah,
Janelle.
I know.
All right.
Hello.
And Janelle, if you can, please share it on your profile on Facebook. Get more people in the audience.
Okay.
And after we're done, this will be on Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, Google. It's going to be all over the place, just so you have it later on.
Okay.
Let's see. I want to go back to Bernadette Souza.
Yeah.
She's I've been trying to get her on there so much, she's slacking, she's slack. She's leaving me hanging. She's not really, trying to get her on there, trying to give her her flowers while she's standing. And I'm putting her on blast right now because, your family, you could talk about her. I'm a good friend. I've known her so long, so I'm going to talk about her. But you know what? She is one of the best. You can't top that girl, that woman, that person. She's one of the best. And
Yep.
And and it's not just temporary. She's doing this constantly, over and over and over again,
right,
day in and day out. And so when you see someone like that, and she's always had this, she's been this way since she was young.
She's always had like a light.
Yep. And so you got somebody like that, growing up ahead of you. Now I know why you're the way you are. Love your mom, love your dad.
Yep.
Family, period. You got a boatload of aunts and uncles and cousins and
too many to count.
Yeah. So you couldn't go anywhere in the city.
No,
they
literally
touched,
couldn't.
Yeah, they touched every part of the city. You couldn't go nowhere without.
My grandfather used to always tell me what I was doing the night before.
Uh-huh.
Always.
Yeah. Awesome guy, I don't see him much, He's got a Facebook page, but he's incognito, as they say.
Yeah.
You don't see him, no.
He's in a lot now.
Yeah. We always talked about him. He's always working, and there never was enough money for him. He was always working.
Always working. It's so weird now because, I call all the time, and it was always my grandmother answering the phone. Now it's always him.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we talk a little longer, and then he's like, "All right, you've taken me past my point now. It's time to get off the phone." So
I think I'm gonna try to catch up with him this week. Just say hello, see how he's doing.
Yeah, he'll like that.
So we'll do that. Yeah. Let's see. Are you coaching at all?
No, my coaching days are over. I
All
coached.
right.
I coached my daughter's middle school team. I coached one of my son's rec basketball, and whoo, that is a tough job.
Yeah, it is.
So I have it's a full-time job, just, being a parent of kids that play sports. I'm never home. I'm always, at work, and then it's something is always scheduled. So, I mean, thank God my husband deals with all the football stuff, because that's down in Georgia, that's another level of
Yeah, it is. Sure is.
preparation.
It's some of the best football I ever seen was down south.
It really is.
It's when people talk about doing something on a Friday night, it's going to the football
It's
game.
football. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, I'm lucky that I was down in Florida, played one or two. Yeah, it was actually 1 year down there, and then I came back home. But just to see the fans in the stands, and it was just a rude awakening. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
And even in LA when I was out there, yeah, the crowds were okay, but there was nothing like down south when it comes
No,
to,
nothing like it. I mean, Friday, that's what you're doing.
yeah,
And everything is pretty much shut down because it's time for football. So
exactly. Well, it shows because the best product in high school and NFL is definitely is anyone down south.
yeah.
It's the best are down there.
Yeah. And it starts early. I mean, my son's games at, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old was packed.
Yeah, that's
An
true.
all-day event. There's a field here that they used to play at. I think they have maybe 11 football fields, and
Yeah.
it's just football all day.
It's almost like similar to AAU basketball, but it's football.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just all
what I
over.
always compare it to. When I compare football here to anything up north, it's AAU basketball and then football in the south,
Yeah,
and that's how you
definitely
have to compare it.
can't beat it. It's awesome. Like to take my grandson down there eventually, just so he can see the difference, um, and just go down there just to hang out and be in awe. He's not playing any sports now, but I wish I can get it back into him. Gonna try to see what I can do to trigger it.
Yeah.
Only because athletics is good to me, and So uh, let's see. I had Robbie Mendes on here. Um, great podcast, and people like Robbie, Bernadette. Who are the other people that influence you in the city of New Bedford that could that just, I mean, outside your family? Your family is
Outside
gonna
my
put
family, Kathy Holtman, Mickey Gonzalez.
great
Um,
athletes.
yep. Just people that I would see and that would always, if I was practicing, it was probably me and Tiffany Goodine, because we would just find the court and practice,
Hmm.
play with the guys, get banged around. And so just people that would always stop and give us pointers and, tell us what we were doing wrong, or, people I looked up to. I used to watch Kathy play when they would play down at Monty's, with Bernie, and I think my cousin Lisa would play a couple of rounds.
Yep.
Lisa Rigo.
Lisa
Uh,
Rigo. Yep.
yep. Um, so yeah, I'm sure there's people I'm forgetting, but
Now when I know that right out of high school you guys played that nice tournament at the boys club. Got to play with Kathy. Um, and she was a good teammate, good ball player. Um, and how'd you feel playing in that tournament with her? I mean, you probably played previous to that, but just to be in that boys club setting and playing with probably someone that you looked up to, how was that?
oh, that was cool. I mean,
Yeah,
you always see people playing that you look up to, but then playing with them is totally different.
yeah.
Feeling the energy on the court, seeing how hard they go.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely an eye opener to what you need to work on.
It's so true. So
You
true.
know, it's time to get in the gym and get a little stronger. And um, yeah, yeah, my cousin Lamont's commenting. Yeah, he used to bully me around on the court too.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, he see that. That's nice. The you know, I try to I've been talking to a lot of people and trying to get different things in the city, within the city, to help out with the youth around here and just
Mhm.
to get them in the right direction.
Yeah,
One of the things that I've always tried to um, tell the youth is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fly and get away for a little bit. You know,
right.
whether it's college, whether it's a trade school, whether it's doing something, just get away. And meet and get to know different people. And New Bedford,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's the best years. Well, one of my most learning years was 5 years away from New Bedford. You kind of just learned a whole lot. And not to say that we're not learning a lot in the city. It's just you need to kind of venture off and then
Yeah, absolutely.
bring some of that back. So
Right.
um, the and you were one that left and came back. Well, actually, left, and you the product is unbelievable. You great family, great story. What's the advice that you can give to some of the young people, that are kind of thinking about college or athletics, period?
Right.
Just trying to. What would you actually maybe kind of conversation you would have with your son?
Mhm.
What would you tell these young people? You know.
I mean, just one of the things we always, tell our kids is life isn't easy. You have to kind of make your way and you have to fight for what you want every day.
Yeah.
Leaving your family and your city, it's not easy. But I knew it was the right thing to do for me and for my family.
Yeah.
Um, so, when we left, we moved to South Florida first, and I would call home all the time saying, I'm coming home. Because I
Hmm.
missed, that when you grow up in New Bedford, everyone is so close and tight knit, that's all
Hmm.
you know. You grow up going to your family's house and your aunts and your cousins and hanging out and stuff. And, then you move away and you don't have that anymore. So, I mean, there's just so much out there. And I feel like in this day and age, anyone can achieve anything in life, as long as they have a plan in place. If it's not college, that's fine. College isn't for everyone,
True.
but have a plan in place. You
Yeah.
don't just show up somewhere and there's nothing lined up for you. Make sure you have people lined up, your networks lined up, and you grind it out every day for what you
Yeah.
want.
I talked to one of my guests a few weeks ago, and we were talking about how when you do leave home and you kind of get into you establish maybe a new home now, and so you don't know anybody. You just all you got is you. And when you think about it, it's easier to do that grind because that's all you have to be motivated for is the
Right,
look. I gotta support my family. I gotta do this.
right,
I gotta do. Let me go get it. And that's all you're trying to. That's all you're thinking about. So it
right,
makes it that much easier when you kind of just go somewhere, and then the only thing that you really have, because you haven't built any friendships or anything like that, is just to do the job or
is to do the job. Right,
yeah. So
to do it, and it doesn't happen, overnight.
yeah,
It takes a long time to get,
yeah,
established in a new place. So I think that's one of the things that smacked me in the face, at first is, you move and you just expect to just pick up where you left off, and it does take a long time to get established.
sure
Um,
does.
so yeah, yep, my mother did do a great job.
Sure did, sure did. I like I still talk with her, and she's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yep,
You guys lost an aunt this year.
yeah,
Yeah, it's those are all the Bay Village, that Bay Village crew. You know, and you see
Yeah.
Ray was on here, and
Yep.
always good to me. And it's nice to see him on Facebook. We got connected through Facebook, talk every now and then.
Hmm.
So, um, well, I'm gonna have to do a couple of things. One thing I'm gonna have to do is get that college jersey with your son's name on the back so I can wear it. You know, because I think he's gonna do some good things. And I
Yeah.
mean,
He's ready.
you're already proud of him, but I'm gonna have to just let your husband know I'm gonna be wearing his last name on the back of
I will
my
tell
back.
him.
You know, I'm gonna be proud of it. I'm gonna look at those videos of him playing on the football field at BC. I'm gonna go check that out. I'm gonna do a
Yeah.
lot of that. You know, but you guys have a friend and a supporter here in Charlie Perry on this Really
Oh,
Charlie
thank you.
podcast, and I really have. I really want to do some other things on here. Hey, who knows? Maybe I can get your son on here before the draft. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God willing, that's the plan.
Yeah. I think he's going to be all right. He's already motivated. That's all it takes is
Yeah, he's
motivation.
motivated. He's just coming off of having surgery on his hip in December, so he's even more motivated now because he's kind of been sitting still for a while.
Good.
So I think he's in a great place. I mean, he's going to be up against some of the best receivers in college football and quarterbacks. They have a tough schedule at Georgia Tech, so
Yeah.
he's definitely going to be able to show his skills.
Yep. That's good. That's
So
good. Um, I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you for
thank
this
you for
time.
having me.
I'm gonna, before I let you go, I ask all my guests, who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast? It could be one
Ooh.
person, it could be a few people, but who would you like to see on this podcast?
Um, I'm going to say two people. Tiffany Goodine, because I think she has a great story,
Mm-hmm.
kind of similar to me.
I agree. I
Yep.
do agree.
And it would have to be my cousin Lamont because I mean he's just talk about somebody turning their life around.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him on here.
Yeah,
In fact, I'll talk to him probably as soon as we get off. I'll
yeah,
kind of set up something ahead of time in the maybe a third week of May or something. But I'll see how his
yeah.
schedule is.
And
He's
if you can
always
get Bernie, I would love to see her.
yeah. Who? Tiffany?
Bernadette.
Bernadette?
Bernadette.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Know what I'm gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ring her bell every day.
yeah,
Go to her house, ring her doorbell. I'll mess up her trash cans. I'll do whatever. I'll do whatever. I'll do the Bay Village way. I'll get her on here.
yeah.
And but actually, you know what I could do? I could just get her son on here.
Cody.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I'll just get her son on here. All right, that's what I'll do. I'm gonna get her. I could talk to that kid. He's a good athlete himself, but it's not all about athletics because he's a good student from what I
good student.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, Janelle, I got your list of guests. I'm gonna reach out to
Alrighty.
them, and I love you.
Oh,
Take
love you too.
care.
Thank you for having me.
Give the whole family high fives all the way around,
I will.
and I really appreciate you. Thank
No
you.
problem. Thank you for having me.
All right,
Take
thanks.
care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Awesome guest, Janelle Ferguson Watson, my girl. Girl was definitely doing her thing throughout high school, and she's still doing her thing throughout her life. She's definitely doing you know, she's doing positive things. She's living life, loving life, and she got a great family to do that with her. And I'm so happy to have her on there. I want to thank Lindsay Grace for suggesting her. And like I told Janelle, I was going to get to her anyways. How do you miss Janelle Ferguson Watson. You can't miss her. So regardless of who I sign up and who I line up for this Really Charlie podcast, it will always eventually lead to her. Um, and we talked about athletics. It's not everything. There's things you can do. Athletics is something that keeps you grounded a little bit, but there's always academics. Just do the right thing. Do what your mom and dad are telling you. Do what your mentors are telling you. And thank a mentor. Thank one of those mentors that are kind of putting you in the right direction, because later on you're going to really appreciate what they're telling you. And I Janelle mentioned some of her mentors. Kathy Holtman. And it's another one. Kathy, she's a good mentor. She has produced outstanding family. Her and her husband Dave. So I'd like to get her on there too. The and Julie, good job raising the woman that you raised. And look at the family. Look at the results of all that hard work being a mom. And your whole family just producing what you have now. So, for one, I'm very, very proud of Janelle and what she's accomplished. And hey, so our next guest is tomorrow. We're gonna have Nikki Williams. We're gonna have Mika Marie, as she's known as on Facebook, and on the we're gonna have them here talking about autism and autism awareness. May have a special guest with them. I'm still working on it, but that would be nice. And we're gonna sit down tomorrow at 7 p.m. and just talk about autism and awareness, autism awareness, and try to get that out there. Because we need to be aware of it. We need to include everybody, include an autistic kid, and they're the greatest people to be around. I love them. They make me smile every day, every day. So stay tuned tomorrow, and we're going to listen to two wonderful guests who are parents, and they're going to talk to us about autistic awareness tomorrow at 7 p.m. All right. So mask those beautiful faces, hand sanitize and wash your hands. Be blessed, stay blessed. I love you guys, and thanks for the support. Without you, I wouldn't have this podcast. I would have hung it up, but you guys are continuing to support me. Everyone in the comment section, thank you. You're here every podcast, and deeply appreciative of it. And thank you very much. If you guys need me, you know where I'm at. God bless. Thank you.